Welcome, everyone, to Rebirth, a D&D tale, Session 90. Where our Lucky Sevens had left off, they had been trapped on an island where their ship had crashed. They, for what they know, had been summoned there by an individual in order to fix something, to repair something, to get rid of something that was causing mayhem, causing a anti-magic field to surround the the island as part of its protection. And now, having solved that puzzle, the Lucky Sevens find themselves instantly back on their ship. Not crashed, not run aground, still flying. Each member of the crew experiencing this in the same way as the rest of the group. And you find yourselves floating without worry over the island as you continue your trek towards the Ionian continent to go deep below the mountains and find the city of the Drow once more. Left a little confused and maybe wondering how it is that you instantly got back here, you feel as if this was the position you were in before the anti-magic field hit. It feels the same but different. The captain, going back to assuming her duties as the captain, orders the rest of the crew to man their positions and continue flight. Perhaps busying herself is going to keep her from feeling lost in this sort of weird alternative to how events happened. So, continuing your flight, is there anything that you wish to do during the remainder of your flights over the continent of Ionia?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but we also had 2 new passengers, correct?
Yes. The blacksmith and his adopted daughter, sort of. They got teleported up here with you.
Lagon would be pitching in wherever he could, given this odd feeling sensation, knowing that not too long ago he was holding a new hammer in his hands and it is no longer present. One that he was kind of excited to potentially be holding besides Mjolnir. Or alongside of Mjolnir. And whatever he can to try and restore the ship's infirmary to its previous conditions and source as a lab and infirmary as well, since no one knew that's what it was, to the surgery that he was getting, and still trying to track down the samples that he had stored there.
Everything
Which
is
are
exactly where you had left it. Nothing seems to be disturbed.
I could have sworn that I was told when we got back to the ship that the hairs that I had removed from Arya and Embryl, and who was the other person? Oh, Caleb. That I was using to test with
Mm-hmm.
uh, were no longer in the in the infirmary.
Nope, I have no intentions of removing anything that you were working on. Everything is exactly as you left it. As soon as everything was where it was, from the
No, no,
moment.
no.
Was this
When
before the crash?
Yes, before the crash, before the ship was taken by the other people, the new captain and crew that are now
Oh, okay. Yeah, those might be gone.
those samples. Lagan is still trying to track down and figure out who took them, who sold them, removed them, whatever they did with them.
Oh, yeah. I had not thought about that because I hadn't thought about those samples since weeks ago. Weeks and weeks ago. Um,
Yeah,
so
that's the only thing Lagan is doing. Trying to restore the surgery,
yeah.
trying to still continue to figure out the trail of those samples because whoever took them potentially is tied into whatever is going on with them. And Lagan doesn't trust anyone.
But also keep in mind that half the crew also left when you all went on this mission. So the likelihood of them being here and the person who took them being on board still, well,
Uh,
it's a it's a it's a slim shot, if anything.
yeah.
So the samples are gone, and possibly the person who just tossed them out, thinking they were garbage.
Okay. Okay. But yeah, Lagan is still going to be working on this.
That's fine. Anyone else?
Kurobe would probably go find Vanya and Arya and Zephyr.
Yeah, Arya and Zephyr are not far behind.
Boy. No, definitely not. I'm probably at the very head of the ship. I'm just sitting along the edge, enjoying the breeze and being at peace with the sky again. I'm very happy that we're in the sky and, not crash landed on an abandoned island.
And Vanya and Zephyr would be right there with her.
It is a long
Kurobe
way
would
down when you look down too.
Kurobe would walk up and take a playful stance and call Zephyr and probably start wrestling with him. And mid getting tackled, probably holding Zephyr. Okay, so you all remember what happened too, right?
Kind of hard to forget it. I mean, Spike and
that
Brooke are just downstairs.
Okay, so that really happened. It wasn't. I'm not going crazy.
I won't lie. My memory is fuzzy. A little bit weird. I don't know how we got on the ship again.
I remember there being a bright light and then everything was normal. It's It's weird.
Okay. Because I don't understand magic bullshit on the best of days, and this is.
Oh,
This is even. I don't even think this is the same, at all. I don't get it.
If it makes you feel any better, I don't really understand magic bullshit either. I just do things and it happens.
Same here.
Yeah, you get it.
Okay. Well, the only...
No! Kurobe, don't you still get that feeling? Like, can you still... You know, the wings? The wings thing? Because I saw
Yeah,
you do that before.
I don't know how that happens either. I just
You just
think
feel
like
it, right?
I need to do this and it happens.
Precisely. So, I...
The way Mori always described it is those things take so much study and focus. I don't...
You know, Brune also used to say that. He was very, very meticulous about how magic operated and worked, and would come up with all of these different plans and calculations and things like that, and I had no idea what he meant by it.
To be fair, I didn't either. I still try to read through his journals and I still don't understand it.
Yeah.
Oh. Maybe if we ever get back, you can show them to Mori. She might be able to help you.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we could learn off of each other. How are things going with her, by the way? Have you spoken with her?
I wanted to figure out a way to do that, or at least send her messages, but I haven't seen her since I came looking for you all.
Wait, there might be a way. How far do message stones work?
Not as far as sending. But it's very similar to sending.
That was an in-character question, because Arya doesn't know. Spectre knows. Arya doesn't.
I do know that it was offered when the crew got back together that should anyone desire, Lagan would be using sending to message people should they so desire.
And there's
I
always the
believe
old-fashioned
there
way
was a
too.
brief conversation with Kurobe that what they felt needed to be said would be better done in face to face as opposed to, well, as dispassionately as a sending message can be.
Maybe when we get back and start making our way to Mesotopia, we might be able to make just a quick stop. And get you set up with another date.
I would very much like to see her. Although I think I'm going to take some sort of blast as soon as she sees me walking through the door looking like this. She hasn't seen me looking like this for at least 30 years.
Oh. Yeah, I got so used to it, I completely forgot. Hold on. Very important question. So, most people usually get more bald when they're older. Why did you have those long, luscious locks when you were old, but not now?
Kind of embarrassing.
His head just sheens in the sunlight as he says that.
He's just gonna reach up and start rubbing his head. This is how I always was when we were out and about, because sticks get caught up into it and it's much easier to take care of. But when I wasn't adventuring more, I grew it out for my mother. She always said I had such beautiful hair.
Oh, you did.
And since I didn't have to worry about that and I could keep relatively clean easily, it wasn't, I didn't have to wait weeks for a bath at times outside of a river. And it made sense and it made her happy. Oh God, they're going to see me like this too. Guys, I need help when we go home. You need to prepare people.
Okay. All right. I'll do my best. I cannot guarantee I can find a wig shop, but I will do my best. If we have to take down a large sheep for this to happen, I will spin you some wool.
No. They need to be prepared. They're
Oh,
not getting any.
We did.
I think somebody has the spell to change the body, or had access to that before all of this shit kind of went sideways.
Oh. I just slowly turned to Vanya.
Because, I really remember holding on to a beautiful new hammer, and it's not here anymore. But
Yeah,
I'm going to assume there was a good reason for that, and potentially that being the reason we're here and not still there.
Yeah. Aria, love. The spell I use only works with myself. The other one is more an illusion.
Okay.
Oh no, no, wait, never mind. Even that's for the self too.
Oh. Well, I can't do anything about that. I
don't want to change who I am.
Okay.
Like
It
I don't want.
It wasn't to change who you were, but to alter your appearance.
Lagan, are you on the scene?
A bit more to what you were, so you're not as shocking to the people who have known you as long as they have. Was more the idea and direction I was going with that. However, we do have access to disguise kits, and if that's...
I just didn't want to give my old parents a heart attack, and Maury's not getting any younger either.
Well, as Arya just said, our access to the disguise kits that are still here on the ship, and a decent wig shop, we can get you close to what you were, at least other than your now obviously much more youthful appearance. Give you some of the hair that you had before. You lost, how many years was it? 70?
I don't even remember how old I was. After a while, you just stop counting.
Now, to be fair, we did get a hold of Karthus right after we got back, so I'm sure he's told everyone that you may have changed a little bit. Okay. I think we told him about that.
I did get in touch with Karthus and Jalissa. I don't know what they were told as far as changes, but I do know that they were told we are still alive, and they were rather shocked because it had been more than 5 years since they had last heard from us.
Indeed.
Jalissa, I was dead.
Yeah, I imagine that's what most people would think. Oh, man. All of the people that you all knew are having, like, shell shock from just the fact that you've been gone. But all the people that I know of this age are right here. On this boat, essentially. So...
Yeah. You're the one that's getting off kind of easy on this. Everyone you know is...
I really am.
Here. Everyone else has been gone for a long time. And Rune was the only other person that would have remembered them.
I can't say that that's easier, though. Everybody you did know from your previous life.
Thank you for pointing that out. Yes.
I would think it's easier. There's no expectations. There's no build-up, no drama, nobody freaking out over anything other than potentially herself.
Imagine waking up and realizing that you missed not only your own people and nation's destruction, but several generations of different nations' destructions. Time goes by very quickly. Not in a great way. But that's beside the point. You're right. I don't have any
Literally,
expectations.
quite literally, a blink of an eye. You went to sleep, shut your eyes, woke up, and poof.
It doesn't make it easy.
No, it doesn't.
Makes it alien, if anything else. That's beside the point. I was just thinking it's definitely difficult. We have to actually consider what to do for everyone around you. And, like, trying to figure out, how do we break the news to them? You're alive! Also, you're alive differently!
And
My
if
parents-
my parents were... Go on.
No, I was about to say, my parents, they're going to be ecstatic. I am 50-50 whether or not I'm going to catch a hug or a fireball from Mori.
You're going to catch both. That's what it is. She's going to, chuck the fireball at you and then hug you.
Maybe not a fireball. Maybe start with a firebolt and then hug you.
You
What's a little
don't
love
know
without war?
Mori. Yeah, you don't know Mori.
Not as well as you, but I know her well enough that I do know fire is going to be involved with whatever it is that y'all are doing.
Yeah. And if my folks are any example, you're going to have a fun time. Good luck with that one.
I'm scared. I'd rather go piss off a dragon right now than deal with that.
You know,
Speaking of,
might-
and he's just going to tackle Zephyr.
And Zephyr,
Changing subjects!
Zephyr playfully tackles you back and really just has the... He has a strength to him that you're maybe feeling is a little bit more than what he was. Because he was a big wolf before. But now he's got some scales tossed in, some feathers tossed in, some wings.
I imagine his scales feel very cold right now because of his essence.
Yes. He's very cold to the touch at the moment.
Whereas last
you,
time
guys.
they felt kind of normal.
Yeah, Kurobi's just going to look up, probably with Zephyr, like, an arm in his mouth. Thank you, guys.
We got your back, Kurobe. Speaking of, I'm gonna make snacks, and I guess just figure out what's going on the ship. I'll be right back.
Okay.
And Coffee, I'm gonna go down into the lower decks and check out, check our cargo, see what's going on there, see if what I can pull from storage.
Okay. Are you looking for something specific? Are you just
Yes,
kinda
I'm gonna
rummaging
introduce
around?
an NPC. I'm introducing an NPC for the sake of it. I need to have this in the world for me to use as a
Right.
player.
So you go rummaging around. There's plenty of here that's considered maybe like spare parts for the ship, for repairs, for just about everything that the ship could need. There's some extra things that have been stored here as a part of that, perhaps. So.
Okay. Going through the different things just down here, I try and pull out some materials, pull together. I find some plates. Oh, they're very fine china, beautiful. And I gather them and kind of dust them off. I'm like, why are they dusty? Why are they covered in like years of dust? Oh, don't tell me that there's a... Did the captain never at once check this out? Captain Ember, please. Why did you just leave all of our stuff gathering dust down here? As I do so, and start to clean things up, something drops from the shelf and rolls around in between the crates, and I go after it. And as I pick it up, I slam my head on something. Another object, which at first I think it's a shelf, and I'm like, oh, what? And I see the glint of metal, some sort of metal material. I look at it. It's in a crate, and just kind of like thrown together in there. And I lift it up, and it's very clearly some sort of automaton. I lift up just one of the arms, this very gangly tube piece. I'm kind of just confused, because this is the first time Arya is seeing a jack. Now, Coffee, remind the audience what a jack is.
Yes. A jack is an automaton based on the designs of a Mesomascan gnome. A servitor. A kind of robot meant to perform various functions that the person who commands it can tell it to do. They come in various shapes. Many of the ones that maybe the rest of the party would be familiar with would be construction jacks that have been part of, city expansions and things like that. There are others that do serve other functions, of course. And this one seems to be... It's not that you find one whole, necessarily. You find maybe the start of one, and it wasn't finished.
It's just like...
It's got its skeleton
portion...
and its torso, and that's really about it.
Yes, it is. For a moment, I'm completely perplexed by it. This isn't something that we brought on the ship. No, most certainly. It must have been something that Captain Amber brought on at some point throughout the 5 years that she's had the ship, but she hasn't really touched on it since, it doesn't seem. Nor either the crewmates. There's nothing to it.
Seems to be a mythic power source, too.
That's a shame. We had a power source. I had a power source at one point. I just don't remember. Did I sell it?
I don't know.
Some time ago, we encountered a jack, and I picked up its power source for no reason whatsoever.
You might still have it.
Depends on where you left it. If you put it in the bag of holding, potentially we still have it. If you did not,
it might have gone in the bag of holding. Can we check that?
Who has the contents of the bag?
I'm already on it.
I gotta know. Do we have a power source?
I do not see it.
That's a shame.
We have a heart of Wendigo. I don't know if we can use that as a power source.
Yeah, we've got a Wendigo heart. We've got a lot of gems.
The only other power source I know that we could have potentially used for that currently resides in Arya and is the entire reason she's here since we lost.
No, we're not gonna rip my heart out of me.
What about residuum crystal?
I know that could.
Oh, that is it.
Oh,
Residuum crystal.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was it.
Oh,
that was it.
Was that it, or was that from the golem?
It's both. If I remember right, residuum was the power source.
The
Wasn't
residuum is the power source, I believe.
I don't know. I probably need to go through and edit this list anyway and get rid of
If
some
there are residuum crystal, those would be the power sources that Arya's talking about.
I lift up the automaton just underneath the armpits, and it's like dangling about. It is so light and skeletal that like Arya can lift it, which is truly amazing. She picks it up, and she puts it holds it in her arms like this, like it's a stuffed toy, and just bounces up the stairs with it, completely forgetting everything else that she was doing. She brings it to the deck. She's like, "Look what I found!"
Roby and Zephyr just both look over, laying on the deck.
Do I recognize what this is?
Nope. This came in after After the pirate crew, the crew that you're
Right.
flying with, they brought it on board.
No.
It's not something you did.
No, I know we didn't bring it on. I'm not asking if I recognize it as in this is something that we've done, but would I recognize this as something I have seen before or part of something I have seen?
Make an Arcana check.
Okay, Arcana.
Anyone who wants to recognize the kind of thing that this is, make an Arcana check.
Oh,
Sure.
17.
Okay.
Give me one moment to get her sheet up.
I rolled a 3, so 1.
Oh, God.
Found the doll?
flat 17.
And
I know what this is.
Vanya, did you roll the Arcana?
Yeah, 21.
21. Oh, okay. Vanya, maybe your heart hurts a little bit as you know about these things because of Rune. Rune essentially was an automaton infused with an actual soul. But this one looks very different, and the rest of you would understand, maybe aside from Kurobe, the rest of you would understand that it is called a jack, but this one looks like it is not designed with construction in mind, but instead maybe another function. Maybe ship maintenance, maybe the power source ran out and it has been lying in the base in the hold of the ship ever since.
Jack. Huh.
What's a jack?
My question exactly.
What's a jack?
It's a automaton. It mechanical servant is probably the best I could put it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Ooh.
So basically, alright, you probably wouldn't get it, but Rune without being Rune.
Okay, so
Oh.
Rune without a soul.
Yeah.
Oh, I get
Rune without
that.
soul.
Okay. I do understand automatons, at the very least. I understand those, yes. Wow. Look at this. And she sets it down for everyone to just look at it. And she turns it around, and on the back of it is an almost cartoonish red button on the back of its head, and an open, and like a latch for the back that opens up almost like a toy.
I've never seen one like this.
It looks like it's missing something.
From what you're carrying, it looks like it's missing most of its somethings.
Well, yes, but
It might be designed for a different use.
It still looks quite incomplete.
Vanya's gonna push the red button, see what happens.
Nothing.
Well, out of power then. Shame.
how do we put power in it?
Let's open up the back. See what's there.
You look inside.
Yeah.
You look inside, and it has the same sort of gears and wires and things like that you had seen, Vanya, in the times that you've assisted Rune in putting back together. Because while your spells may have healed maybe the exterior of him, he sometimes did have to have some things manually put back together. And what you see as well is there's a maker's mark on the inside of the latch door. It's a little worn out. It's gnomish, it looks like. And you see that there is this sort of crystal, kind of a natural formation almost. It's not cut like a gem. It's not pristine like you would say find a ruby to be in a jeweler's store. This is more sort of raw material, naturally forming crystal almost. I would like you both to make an Arcana check again.
Okay.
Hey, nat 20.
1.
It's pretty.
Yeah, shiny.
Vanya, you know what this is because the Grioran Empire sells a bunch of it. It's residuum. It is what powers all of Colcaster. It is what powers most of the towns and cities elsewhere in the Grioran Empire. It's what powers everything, as far as what the Emperor's company, the Paragon Power Company, runs off of.
Oh. She's going to take out the crystal and she's going to give a look over the wiring, trying to, remember what she used to help Rune with and see if everything else is in place before figuring out what to replace the crystal with. Before remembering that we have one on us in the bag of holding. And she'll... Go on.
I'm just excited. Go ahead.
You're always excited.
Yeah.
She'll get the bag of holding from Lagan and pull it out and double check it's the right fit before popping it in.
The one that you have on hand is maybe a little smaller, but you've also known that the size of the crystal doesn't necessarily equal power level. So
yeah,
it could burn out the circuits of this thing. It could very, very likely be enough to power it. So what I want you to do, Vanya, is I want you to make a Tinkerer's check.
fantastic.
And that's going to be using dexterity.
Okay, that's still going to be a flat roll. 19.
This girl know what she doing. This girl know what she doing.
Learned well. She learned well.
I learned well.
You slot the shard that you have into the space, and it kind of almost clicks in, and it doesn't immediately show any life. But you go to hit the button again, and the eyes begin to glow.
I imagine it just wiggles around on the deck for a second before its head just swivels to look at everyone. And in the most... Go ahead.
You hear a sort of mechanized sound of a voice coming from it, even though there's no mouth to speak of. Ah, yes. That's better. Thank you. How might I serve you?
Not to be rude or disrespectful, but who the fuck are you?
Dogs.
I am simply called Steward.
Steward. Okay.
I could
What
recite
is
my
your
model number, but that would certainly be something that you would find boring, as it is very long, and, well, I digress.
Not very pertinent to the current situation as well. More importantly, what is your function?
My function is to serve.
Told you.
Do you have any special skills?
It kind of looks at its torso and skeleton and kind of wiggles an appendage of a hand almost, as it seems to have sort of a claw grip at the moment. Currently, to repair.
I'm assuming that would not be yourself. Am I correct?
I am certainly capable of repairing myself. I have been without a power source for many years at this moment. Thank you for assisting. Shall I get to work?
Can you kindly take a look around, and aside from the 4 weird individuals that have stood over the top of you and kind of essentially brought you back to life, do any of the rest of the crew look familiar to you? Perhaps know where the rest of you is?
From what I understand of this ship, it looks familiar, yes. Although there's been a crew rotation. I should get to know them.
Well, if it's... I'm assuming you don't know exactly how many years it's been since you've been functional.
I imagined they ran out of use for me.
I believe potentially your missing parts and the lack of a power crystal might have potentially led to your have been being stored in our hold. Is that correct, Arya?
I mean, yeah, I just found him underneath the ship. He was just thrown into a box, but he didn't have any other parts.
Okay. So, yes, I'm going to make it a safe assumption that you missing pieces of you and your power source having depleted led to your having been stored in the hold until, I'm assuming, such a time as the rest of you or a power source could be found. What do you need to make yourself whole?
I do not need anything else. I am perfectly functional in my current state.
Maybe we should ask Brooke if we can get him, like, legs or something.
Maybe we could ask the captain. She might have a bit more knowledge of the subject.
Oh,
not
yeah.
Why not
Both
both?
is good. Both is good. And Arya's just gonna, like, pick up Stuart.
I'm assuming we're standing on the deck near the mast to the crow's nest, since that's where the 3 of you normally spend your time on deck, is in the crow's nest.
Somewhere out
we
there,
were
yeah.
at the front.
In the crow's
We were
nest.
out front.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
front.
so we're on the foredeck?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, it rather simple, and Lagan is going to walk back to the captain.
Great. I'm gonna go take Stuart and take him down below the ship to ask Brooke about legs.
I'll go with.
You're taking Stuart to ask Brooke about legs, and I'm going to Captain to ask about Stuart.
I love him. Just this little hoity-toity robot.
I'm assuming at this point she's going to be in her cabin and not on the deck, since Arya just brought Stuart to the deck.
Yeah, she's in the captain's quarters at the moment.
Okay. All right. Well, then I will be going below as well, and then we'll be taking our different directions there.
Sounds great.
Okay.
To be fair, Arya, when you start to pick up Steward, he kind of almost insists at you a little bit. I mean, he's not going to stop you from doing something, but he's going to insist. Oh, I can very much transport myself.
Just like, no, man, please allow me. And he just will his arms. And Arya's like, what the fuck?
Okay, I have a serious question, Coffee, because it's important. Is it like a torso with longer arms that it is walking on its hands, or is it zombie crawling around?
No, it's walking on its hands.
Okay, because either way, I'm all about it.
Arya's in like shock, and Kurobe is like, yeah. I love this. Everything about this little situation is fun. Thank you for letting us make NPCs for the ship.
No problem. So you walk with your new friend and with Kurobe down towards the lower decks, where Brooke and Spike have been set up quarters. They haven't really been assigned jobs on the ship per se just yet, as they're still sort of settling in. But yeah, you can find them in the quarters, the crew quarters.
Awesome. I knock politely on the door. Peek my head in. Hello?
You see
Brooke, Spike?
You see Brooke there. Yes?
I have a bit of an odd question.
This is a bit of an odd situation, so what is your odd question?
I know you're just settling in, but would you like to have a bit of a job here on the ship?
I've only ever known forging, and, well, this vessel seems to be made of wood. I don't think that is very, it would be very hazardous, I would say.
That's fair. Next time we lay ground, I have a bit of a question about this. Particularly, one part's figuring out how we can make accommodations so the Daedalus will be able to allow you to do some work, any sort of carpentry or putting things together. The second thing is, well, it's about this fellow. And I open the door fully, and there on the floor is Stuart, who I imagine just leaning against the doorway in order to wave his hand.
What is that?
He's called a Jack, but his name is Stuart. He's an automaton. Have you ever seen them before?
No.
Me neither. He doesn't have legs.
I can see that.
I think... Would it be possible to maybe make legs?
Stuart kind of holds up a hand and what looks like a finger, maybe. I do not need legs to function. I am perfectly capable.
But would that make it easier, Stuart?
Not always. It would certainly make mobility a little bit more of a or a bit less of a challenge.
Well, they
However,
could always be detachable, should you need to.
I would make a suggestion.
Yes.
You could return me to my manufacturer.
Oh.
Is that what you
Yeah,
want?
who?
I seem to be lacking in ability to serve you. You could simply return me.
Well, okay, I don't want to return you, per se. I think you're great.
I have not served you in any function at this moment.
I know, but I like you.
What would you like, Stuart?
I am here to serve.
I don't think he can like.
What is it you require to serve us?
Simply
Legs.
a duty. Simply command and I shall.
Okay. Well, since you don't really have legs at the moment, you're not particularly mobile. Hey, Kurobe, can you carry him? Just like on your back?
That wouldn't be a problem.
And she picks him up and just like sets him into whatever backpack Kurobe is carrying at any point in time, whatever bag he has. And then Arya is just going to be like, yeah.
I do
I mean,
have
that
an
works.
idea.
Mm-hmm.
He could serve in the kitchen as a hand for Cookie till we get him mobile.
He would quite literally only be a hand.
Well, he has two hands. I mean, I don't really trust a robot to cook our food. I'm gonna be honest.
Well, I was thinking prep maybe, but
Yeah, an automaton could do that. What about this? Can you write?
I am versed in one language, common.
That's acceptable. That'll do. I fish out of my own bag. I hand him what is supposed to be technically maybe like a sketchbook or something. All it has is like almost childish doodles that I've had in it. Just like scribbles and things like that when Arya gets bored. And a pencil. I just hand those to him. I'm like, you can start writing our story. And just join us. Document what you see.
He starts writing immediately.
Oh! Already so great. This is already so great.
And he doesn't stop writing.
You don't have to do document everything. Just like bullet points. The important things.
Perhaps I
Yes,
misunderstood
maybe.
the assignment. Am I to observe everything and write it down, or am I to observe everything and only write some of it down?
Observe everything, only write some of it down. Like if we buy things or sell things, ship logs, things like where we go or happen to travel, or if there are certain things that we face or fight. Maybe.
What if we had Vanya sing, have him and her work together to tell our tale? He can transcribe.
Oh, that would be great! And he could probably... Stuart, how great are you at writing letters? He could probably prepare that letter for your parents.
That would be good, considering I'm not very good at writing.
Do you... Okay, so
I
here's
could
the thing,
write
Stuart.
exact words, yes.
Yes. So, our friend, this is Kurobe here. And Kurobe has had a bit of a predicament where he's changed and now he's younger. And we need a way to try and describe to his parents that he's okay, he's alive, and that he's younger and that's okay. And also apologize because he's bald.
He starts writing exactly as you have described it in the third person.
No. Like write it as if a noble is sending a political statement. A great speech. Can you do that?
I do not know what that means.
A moving speech. Emotional and as if you were Kurobe writing this letter to his parents.
I do not understand.
I think our best bet is for him to transcribe what we say.
Okay, we'll do that then. This is Arya trying to figure out how to work AI. How does Chat GPT work? Let's find out.
He does not have an AI to speak of.
No, he doesn't.
He is quite literally do what he is told.
I love that.
Where is your manufacturer located?
In Mesomasca.
The other side of the world.
Oh,
Goes by the name of Gaspard Brokenbranch.
Okay. We might be able to take him there and get him repaired then, so that he has full function. But until then, I think he could work with Vanya to keep a record of what we do. Possibly
perfect.
whatever else that we need help with.
I can serve this function without legs.
Yes,
Yes.
you can.
But if we get you legs, you can do more.
You can come with us and join us without us having to carry you.
I'm
I
afraid,
still like this one.
I'm afraid I would be of little use. I do not have any other abilities.
That is perfectly fine. I like him like this. This'll work. This'll work for now. We'll figure out from here. Stuart, your official duty from here henceforth is to be our scribe.
He goes to start writing again.
Now he's just like all proud of herself, like, yay.
Sorry for bothering you, Brooke.
No bother at all. Certainly entertaining.
We probably... I wonder if we could make a safe forge area on a ship with some kind of metal sheathing.
We have across from the infirmary a portable forge that could be moved to the deck, and it was specifically a portable forge because we're on a wooden ship and has to be on the deck so that we're not going to burn the rest of the ship down.
Oh.
Alright.
It was one of the things that Lagan said, we may need this in the future. We're going to have this before we even leave the dock. So make sure it's on the ship while the ship's being built. And oh yeah, you're still putting in weapons, and some of those are metal. We might have to fix that.
Fair enough. Alright. Well, you now have Arya a crawling, sort of, kind of walking on two hands, sort of a thing of a scribe now.
An equipable, a Jack who is equipable as a piece of as a piece of equipment, and who is a scribe. Yes.
To be fair, his arms may be long, but he's otherwise, like, torso and head wise, a little smaller than humanoid. But he is lightweight, but he's humanoid and awkward shaped. So it would be
Yep.
a thing to carry him around. But yeah,
I'm
So
okay with
here's
this.
what's gotten bad. He
Sorry.
ain't got no legs.
I ain't got no legs. Nope.
It gives me an out of character, like an in-game reason to continue taking notes in this game because I otherwise just don't. Rune did. Rune took excellent notes. When I switched over to Arya, I stopped taking notes because she does not have a diary. She's just raw dogging life.
Yep. Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
Roby writes at like an elementary school level,
Yeah.
if that.
So for just a minor recap for those of you that are present with Brooke, if you ever get with Lagan and bring this up to him, he can let you know that some of these things are available, considering that the captain and crew never really looked into that as long as they've had the ship,
Yeah.
bothered to move anything or touch it. And Lagan is the only one that really knew what all was going into the ship because he decided it was his ship, regardless of whether the crew bought it or not.
So some of the things the captain and the crew are not super aware of, but yeah.
And being the most familiar of being a ship, was the one responsible for making sure the ship was fully stocked and prepared before we left.
All right. Well, you are continuing on your journey. And I think that's also a good place for us to take a quick break, as we will have the Lucky Sevens be landing in Ionia fairly soon. So we will be right back, everybody. Welcome back, everyone, to Rebirth, a D&D tale. Session 90. And where we had left off, our Lucky Sevens had begun to make their trek towards the continent of Ionia to go and visit the Drow, but not before finding a mysterious little Jack in the ship's hold, who had been kind of stored from not having a power source. And lucky enough, the Lucky Sevens had one to replace it, and they powered on a new pet for themselves. Someone to kind of join them on their quest and be of a note-taking use. After discussing with Captain Amber about the little Jack called Stewart, the captain has decided that if he would be of better use to you all, you're welcome to take him. She's got other ways of being able to help and repair the ship, including her crewmates and other such things that she really doesn't have a use for him anymore. So, the Lucky Sevens find themselves with a new sort of constant mechanical companion. And thus, over the few days that it takes to get from the midst of the ocean, where the island of Sanctuary had been situated, to the mountains of Ionia towards the Obsidian Peak. Over those few days, you get to manning your own positions, discussing, and eventually landing in the tiny lake next to the city of Garnet Keep. A mountain city kind of built into and fortified by the mountains that surround it. The lake that pools to the side of it, a good place to land your airship, as while it might be small, it's better than landing on the land, per se, as this ship does have a very ship-like design and doesn't stand upright too well. But powering the ship down and docking at what appears to be the closest thing to a port that this city would have, which would be where, shipping boats are moored, or fishing boats are moored. You make your way off your ship, your crew now having their a sort of vacation from the sky for the moment. The rest of the crew goes about and starts going into the city and will spend their merry earned gold coins on treasure, maybe company, maybe other things to entertain themselves for the time being. You all have a meeting with General Roderus. And so you've designated a specific tavern where you will meet him, and you start to make your way there. Is there anything else you wish to do in the city before you meet General?
Not particularly. I feel comfortable with our current MO.
Okay.
Anyone else?
I'm fairly certain our sled and sheep have been sold in the roughly 6 years or so since we've been here last.
Oh yeah, they're gone completely.
And
I figured that removed them from the list already.
there's no reason to even check with those stables anymore.
Nope.
Um,
Nope.
Nope, because the sheep do not live that long, if at all.
no. And I'm sure as well that our cart was sold because we had only paid for 6 months, if I remember correctly, when we left.
Yeah, so that's gone too.
Uh, Everything else I can think of requires us to not be here, but a bit further south.
Hmm. Yeah. Anything that was in holding from before y'all went on your 5 years in heaven, basically.
Yeah,
Uh, all of that you can mark off as gone because it's not going to stay.
I'm aware of that, and I don't remember how much of String's tuition we had paid before that. But if we're going to be making a trip south, we should endeavor as well to check in on Bell and Strings. Um, Seeing as how we pretty much adopted and decided he was going to Bard College anyways,
Mm.
whether anyone else wanted him to or not. Um, it's only fitting that if we're making our way
Yeah.
in that direction, we should check on them as well, since we also pretty much helped Bell get a bit more of an establishment before we left.
Yep. All of that can. All of that's for when you make it towards the city of Combe. If that is indeed on your itinerary, but the you enter the tavern where you were uh, sent to meet with General Rodrus. From from the look of it, this is like a nice place. Like this is kind of one of those higher tier taverns that have the the luxuries that one could enjoy, including a a hot spring bath should you want one is during your stay here. But as far as as far as seeing the general, you don't see him yet.
Roby will walk over to the bar and chat up the bartender, see if any interesting news is going around town, and buy a round of drinks for his party.
Okay. The drinks will come out to 2 gold because they're kind of you know standard beer. As far as the goings on of the city, there isn't a whole lot to be said. They're the city's going through its own sort of dealings, but um, but the barkeep, who's a Goliath woman, is tells you that since you're not from around here, that it's really none of your concern, and she can tell that with each of you not aside from Lagon being Goliath, that there's really not a whole lot that that would concern a lot of you in terms of what's going on in the city. You
Okay.
all look like travelers. You all look like foreigners. So that she's not super open about local politics to you.
All right, I'll just take our drinks back then.
Uh,
Oh, you were gonna say something?
yeah, Lagon, well, Kurobe's at the bar chatting up the bartender.
Mm-hmm.
Were we given any specific time frame to meet the general?
Y'all,
Should be coming in soonish.
Soonish. Love the accuracy of these thoughts.
And
Interesting.
almost as if on cue, a blue dragonborn with a missing horn walks into the tavern and spots all of you and begins to walk up towards you.
I stand up, extend my hand. General Rodriguez, very, very good to see you again.
He extends a hand and shakes it with the very firm handshake of a very powerful man.
Arya is doing the best she can to hide it, but like, there's definitely a down her back. At this point, it's instinctual. She has no control over that.
Lagon would also stand and extend his hand.
As
I
with
see.
Vanya.
Speak of, well, anyways. Pleasure seeing you again.
I think you were meant to have said a turn of phrase.
Well, when you speak of devils, they generally appear, through names and such. We were just speaking of you, and I was curious as to if we were actually given a specific time or time frame for meeting you here, and had just posed the question when you walked in.
Well, I did say that I would meet you here, and I did say that I would know when you had arrived.
Kind of hard to miss a flying ship anywhere.
Yes,
Well.
we'll chalk it up to that. Well, it's good to see that all of you are hearty. He looks over at Alira and Kaz too, who are at the table with you at the moment.
Yeah.
Roby will go around pouring a round of drinks out of the pitcher and hand one to General Rodriguez.
Thank you. He kind of swigs the whole thing down at once and sits down. Well, let's see. Who's he going to sit down next to?
Oh, hell.
1 through 5, it's one of y'all. So going down from me to Vanya, Kaz, Alira, Lagon, Arya, Karobe.
It matters not.
So next to Vanya.
Yeah.
Great, so she's between Arya and a Dragonborn.
Yes.
Again.
Mhm.
Just different Dragonborn this time.
Mm-hmm. You definitely do notice a difference, because with Kaz, he has sort of a little bit more humanoid style sort of face, where with General Rodriguez, he has a very dragon-like face. So, what you expect of a blue dragon is the face that he holds. And so, and with half a horn on one side, kind of some scars on that side too. You get the distinct sense that this man has definitely seen many battles. Definitely looks the part for a general. So, you all know where this city of elves is meant to be, then?
We do indeed. Lagon would turn and look at Alira, and she would perhaps know much finer detail than we, but we've all been there. Maybe with the exception of Robe here.
And
We've all...
And I am meant to speak to their leader, is that correct?
believe that's the plan.
Alira
I
simply
believe-
nods.
What we require from you specifically, and what is being proposed, if I remember right, was that we might potentially have an alliance at hand. While the devils and those demons and other horrible little creatures are crawling out from the north, as much as many problems as they are giving you, they are also not all of them are fully aware of more ancient threats themselves. There was one thing, if I remember right, Lyra toted. She kind of like glints at Alira. Equal parts intrigue and maybe a bit of pride. Is just to see Alira as she is now stoic in her armor. To my understanding, our friends from the underground, Dark Elf and Queen and her constituents, are of a society so ancient and unseen at this point that it would be almost like a new alien weaponry.
An element of surprise.
That too. They can come out from anywhere underground, as long as they know the passages and the ways. Of course, such a correspondence, such a deal would require complex negotiations. I would refer to Alira on this. But as for anything that the Queen might require, in sort of say a trade deal or peace offering or such, these the Lucky Sevens are in full support, would go out of our way to ensure that these negotiations go splendidly.
And he would do well in that.
Yes, sir.
I am a practiced warrior. Diplomacy is not exactly my strong suit, even amongst my own kind. However, with your help, I think we can make things work in this way. That's why I think you being the ones to introduce us is the more amiable.
That can be arranged, sir.
So when do we go? When do we leave?
Well, we might leave right now if we're all ready. Arya will look to the rest of the Lucky Sevens for confirmation.
Is it just you accompanying us, General Rogers?
Yes.
Okay. Well, if you are prepared to have the provisions to be gone for perhaps close to a month, not that we will be gone that long, but prepared for such, and have all of, well, the weapons and any other materials that you might require, as the place we are going is, well, rather inhospitable, and there are, well, beings that our friends have had issue with and may well have issue with us. It would be best to go in prepared, since these beings like to eat those such as ourselves.
Are you concerned for my safety, giant kid?
Not particularly in so much as that you are an ally that we are trying to make sure arrives to a meeting that we have, well, kind of helped establish and set up, and are in so much as that is the case, responsible for your safety and seeing that you not only make it there but return so that we don't face any further charges from your kingdom when we return.
It's more of a heads up of what we have encountered, so you know what to expect going in. Maybe a little bit about safety.
I see.
I do consider it a responsibility.
As you may recall, previously when we spoke in your office, I believe they were referred to as illithids, aberrations of a sort.
Yes, I am vaguely familiar with their kind. And they do infest the undergrounds of many different continents. I'm not unfamiliar
It is a
with them.
Yes, it is a concern. Especially considering that sometimes they may or may not possess corpses. So if there are dark elven folk, the underground elves that happen to attack us, they do not listen to Illyria, please understand it's probably not them and something that has wiggled its way inside of them and has started to move them around like a meat puppet.
It has been quite some time since I've done any kind of
Spelunking.
I suppose we'll say research, spelunking. Anything of that sort in regards to the illithids, but I am very aware of their aberrant nature, and, last time I encountered them was well before any of you were born.
I'm inclined to believe that. That said,
I would say there are two among us, maybe. But the rest, I'm fairly certain you're correct on.
I assure you, I am much older than any of you sitting at this table.
I don't know.
Arya's just like side-eyeing Lagon, like, bro.
Lagon, trust me when I say he is. If anything.
He is. He really is. Just trust me. Just trust me on this. I'll explain later. Like, not very subtle at all.
Hearing that whisper would respond to Arya. Then you've got a lot of explaining to do later.
I promise I'm old enough to drink.
Well,
I swear she's 21.
You have all had a long journey to get here. I merely had to teleport. You all probably need some of your beauty rest, and so I'll leave you to it. We'll leave first thing in the morning.
Yes, sir.
Sounds
Your
good.
rooms are cared for. Your
Already?
accommodations also.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Much appreciated.
We'll see how good your silver tongue may be when we get to said destination. Have a good night. And he gets up from the table and starts to walk up the stairs towards a room. You're not sure which one.
I don't know whose tongue he's talking about, but I'm fairly certain it's not mine. And then Lagan would stand up and go to the bar and said that there are rooms for us.
Yes. The Dragonborn gentleman paid for them up front.
May we acquire the keys to said rooms?
Yes. And she hands you the keys, the keys to 2 rooms. They're very ornate keys. And she tells you you're on the top floor in the luxury suites.
Oh, Vanya and Arya are gonna love this.
Each room
Well,
comes
Arya
with
will at least.
each room comes with a private bath. So feel free to enjoy.
Oh, okay.
Girl
So-
loves diamonds. She's on that like white on rice.
Well, thank you very much. I think we will at least see to our accommodations and, well, thank you very much. And then Lagan is going to turn and return to the group. Well, we indeed do have accommodations here. Why don't y'all follow me up?
Can do.
Sure.
And find our way to the rooms that were mentioned. And Lagan is going to turn to Vanya, Arya, and Alira. Ladies, you have your choice of... And he holds out 2 keys. You have
said
your choice.
Coffee, both of them are luxury suites?
Yes,
Does one of them have a balcony?
both of them do.
Both do.
They take up the full second floor, the full top floor.
That's beautiful. She doesn't even care. She's just gonna grab one. She's gonna frolic in.
I'm assuming Vanya and Kaz are going to follow Arya at this point.
Oh yeah. Alira looking to the gentleman. Well, I suppose I'm rooming with you 2 tonight.
That is fine with me.
Oh.
Roby's going to walk into the room, taking off the top of his kimono and looking around.
You can have the bed, is all Lagan is going to say to Alira.
It would not be the first
am
time that I have slept on a floor.
I'm not suggesting it would be the first. I'm suggesting that at least tonight it will not be.
Very well.
Roby's just going to kick back on the couch.
As a note, not taking Stuart with us in our room. That doesn't need to be cataloged.
No, it does not.
He's not stuffed in the bag of holding currently? Okay.
He's in the bag of holding, just not our bag of holding in the girls' room and Kaz.
Excuse me, miss. How do you spell ooh ah ah right there?
Terrible. Terrible.
Sorry.
But Arya, you did say you had some explaining to do, so I'm sure that you all get together at least at some point else during the evening. After after maybe breaking in your new room.
I don't think it's a room that's going to be broken into here.
It'll be more than just the room.
Good point.
But after some
Okay.
time, Arya, you wanted to explain to Lagan.
Mm-hmm.
About what?
About General Rodrus.
Oh yes. Okay, so we taking some time aside, probably over some drinks. I'm freshly out of the bath. I feel nice. I feel all fluffy and comfortable. And we share a couple of drinks, just looking over the balcony. The lights of the city twinkling below in a warm glows of firelight across the icy landscape that Lagan is so comfortable with.
And it's very chilly.
Very. I am freezing my ass off, but that's okay. I have like 3 blankets over me.
You probably have some furs from Lagan as well,
Perfect.
because he's more comfortable in this and, well, still running around in just, other than how he would normally be dressed in his armor, just his kilt that he wears underneath at the moment, not in his armor.
I imagine so.
Feeling much more at home and much more comfortable in himself, and not wearing shoes either.
And so we're drinking probably like a warmer ale of some variety. I just break it out simple and clear. So, explanation. General Roderus is not a dragonborn. He's a born dragon. As in an
So-
actual dragon.
Is only wearing the guise of a dragonkin and is indeed an actual dragon. Okay. So yes, he is indeed much older than either Kaz, Alira, or even you.
Yes. And to add to it, I knew him. From way back when. Fleetingly, passingly. When I was still an entertainer. Songbird. That's what they would call me. I would sing inside a cage for them. The dragon kinds. Perform for them, entertain them. And there was an entire district that was for people like me. Then they're great cities. And Roderus, we had met, though his name was under perhaps a different moniker then. Perhaps his true name. Where he and I stood was that, rather, the reason he didn't respond much, why it's been a secret about that connection, is because for him and his sake, it's better others don't know. And for
Better.
my sake,
Okay.
it's for Rune's sake. Has he not acted out against me? I suppose they were friends back then, but I didn't know anything about that.
Right. Well, I guess you could say it's also not entirely his to have told, so not only for his safety and security, but for your own privacy as well.
I suppose in that same sense, I probably shouldn't have said anything. But as part of our party, it would be fair to know for yourself.
I see. I
You're a thief, not a liar.
And you hear Lagan mumble, Now I know why the caged bird sings. But, wow. So, Rodriguez, I understand perhaps a bit more and will not make any mention of his age or anything else. But if he is here, are there perhaps more of my kind, the far older, from, well, where my kind have come, perhaps out there as well?
True giants.
Yes.
I'd never considered it before. I was so overwhelmed with the fact that even dragons existed, I never once thought.
Well, this whole thing started supposedly over a war between the originals of, well, Cos and my kind, and we still exist, and, well, if he still exists, then somewhere out there must be a true giant.
Where would they be?
Even
Part of the
if on,
lands, part of the sky?
well, if they are slumbering and have been for as long as, well, the world has moved on, were of such size that they could appear to be just a mountain or a hill covered in lush greenery or other things over the years.
Such a thought.
I have no way of knowing. The stories of their size vary from the type and kind that they are, as well as to the age they were. It's easily some, like I said, could appear to be a hill or some lost monument, with only portions, perhaps only a hand or a foot, or part of some other appendage or anatomy barely sticking out that would be visible or noticeable as to something not quite truly natural. But given the time that they would have been gone, it could just appear to... Well, I can certainly say if they were to wake up and remove whatever forest or grasses or whatever may be covering them, it would certainly shock any of those who have taken up residence in their vicinity.
Certainly. What would you do if they were still around? If you met one? A true giant?
I don't know. I don't know. There are possibilities, and given what I've heard from the start of this, I perhaps may have, in a sense, have met one, at least on a mental basis, not a
What?
physical.
Now I'm curious.
You've heard this from the start. Dradith has called me a traitor from the start.
Right?
Dradith has said I am a blood traitor to my kind, and if he has his way and his minions, let them do what they would, will wipe me and any of mine from the face of this place.
And you think Dradith, then, was a giant? Or is? Or...
Potentially. I don't know what he was. No one that I've been able to speak with has given me more than rumor, supposition, and speculation. No one truly knows what he is or what he was. What we do know is that he was bound by Zugiwao, the Wild Mother. We also know that some of those bindings are weakening, and it allows him freer access, at least around those places where whatever rituals were used to bind him and restrain him have weakened. The mines to the north of Kombe are one such place where, well, if you could, excavate your way back in there, you might be able to hear the voice of him again. However, I do know of one such place out there in the, Adamantine Reef where you could just, walk up the hill and, well, have a discussion yourself, should you so choose. How many other such destinations there may be, I do not know.
Interesting.
But a whole continent's been named after him, for sure. And Lagan, you also do recall that going through the abyss as y'all did, you did meet the Stormbringer.
Yes, I know I met Stormbringer, and he was with us for a little while.
Yep.
But I meant more than just the abyss. That if Stormbringer is there in the abyss, there has to be more of the giant and somewhere for them to have wound up there.
Or you know of one dragon.
I am beyond the potential of whatever Dradith is. I did meet one such of my kin, and that was actually quite pleasurable. And should any further relations be sought or endeavored towards, I would not be averse to them. I rather enjoyed Stormbringer. Actually wish he were here with us now.
I certainly have a dragon I wish was here. So, cheers to that. She'll hold out her mug and clink glasses with Lagan.
I think I'm going to find my way downstairs and find something much harder than this. Enjoy your time.
Oh, I will.
And I thank
Sleep
you
well,
for...
Lagan.
Yeah. I thank you for the thoughts. I don't know, other than any time I've actually just been outright unconscious, that I've ever had a pleasurable sleep. At least not in the last 25, well, make that 30 years now.
I hope one comes to you someday. And I'm going to return to the room. And I am going to definitely have a pleasurable sleep.
Lagan is actually searching for something to obliterate any memory for at least tonight.
If you want to spend 5 gold, you can.
Oh, yes. I am spending the gold because I am drinking myself stupid at this point.
Yep. Your food and stuff has been accounted for in your food and room, but Any extra beverages, yeah, that's on you. That's on your ticket.
Yeah.
So yeah, you find the 5 gold, you get something hearty and hard, and end up passed out in your room. Now, Alira, I mean, there's multiple beds in the room, so Alira can take one, Kurobe can take one, or Lagon can take one. It's a multiple bed room, and then there is always a couch in the sitting area.
Okay. Yeah, Lagon would actually wind up sleeping on the balcony tonight, being we're so close to home. He'll have his blanket and his cold weather gear because, well, once you get above the tree line, it definitely gets cold in the mountains.
Oh yeah, it does.
But they'll be used more like light blankets more than anything, as he's actually more at home sleeping. He rarely ever sleeps on the ship in the cabins where the crew sleeps. He's normally on the deck asleep if he's sleeping. But yeah,
Kurobe would see if anybody wanted to join him in the hot springs before they go to bed. And he's definitely heading there to have a good soak. Because that is a rarity and a thing he's used to in Kombe.
Yes.
So when he can, he's definitely doing it.
All right. So anyone who does want to partake can partake in a soak in the hot springs or in their own private bath. You go to sleep, and a new day will dawn on all of you. General Roderus will be up and knocking on your doors quite early in the morning, as it is barely before sunrise.
Probably would go and answer.
Wake up.
I will rouse the ones in my room and go get the others. I'll meet you downstairs.
He gives a nod, goes and knocks on the other door.
Vanya would be getting that one.
Are you all ready?
Mostly. We'll meet you downstairs.
All right. And he doesn't look like he's carrying any extra gear with him.
Packing light, General?
I always pack light.
Thank you.
We love that baby.
Cats.
But after getting yourselves all ready and collecting what belongings you have and locking up the rooms behind you, the general is meeting you downstairs in the tavern area. He's standing by the door, his arms folded, looking a little impatient, but also not terribly impatient.
when Lagon gets down and sees the general, my apologies for my words last night. I did not mean to insult.
I took no offense. I found it rather amusing.
I'm sure for one as long-lived as yourself it would be, considering I have 3 friends here who are not much younger than you. Well, Considering I don't know exactly how old you are, but I do know you know one of them. And she seems to kind of remember you somewhat fondly.
I think fondly might be a strong word for it, but
Leave it to my prerogative in choice as I wish to see.
well, the past being what it is and what it was may be of importance in our future diplomatic relations with those of the underground, and it may not. So we'll just have to see. Might take the words of a songstress to maybe make things a little smoother. We'll have to find out. I don't know this queen, and sadly, I don't have... While I have developed skills over the years, it was never my strong suit, as I said before. So, there were others of my kin stronger in that than myself.
Well, thankfully you have a couple of us who are good with our words. She's coming up with Zephyr at her side.
Yeah.
And they're the right sex too.
That's a fair point.
It is a matriarchal society. At least
Yeah.
that's what they called it.
Yes, yes.
All I know is the women's are in charge.
I had not considered that.
Which is why
have,
we are leaving you in Alira's hands when we get down there.
have you never considered that even when spoken of otherwise, in all but appearance, we are still pretty much a matriarchal? Because, well, if you are involved with someone else and your significant other is unhappy, you are not happy, are you? I've heard it said many times, happy wife, happy life. Yes, there goes a long way to making that more of a certainty.
Indeed.
I can kind of attest to that one.
Maybe a change in appearance is necessary.
I don't know.
I would say going on in under falsehoods may set the wrong tone.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It would just be something to consider that how their society works, we have to observe, and the same goes for ours. There are differences, and they have been cut off for many years.
We shall find out when we get there. I say onward.
Let's go.
And the general actually leads the party and is actually leading you out of the city for a moment.
Just gonna go along.
Yeah.
We will follow.
And he kind of leads y'all into the forest just outside the city. I figure the faster we fly up the mountain, the better.
fly.
Oh no.
Alright. This is going to be one hell of an experience then.
I'm sure everyone is up to speed as of now.
Mm-hmm.
Good, because I don't want to have to spend time to explain. And what you see in front of you is the crackle of some blue electric energy. And almost as if the skin and scales are kind of coming apart, as if it's like a suit that's being ripped open, you see him transforming into a massive blue dragon. If you suspected it before, it's confirmed to you now. You see he still has the scar and the missing horn off of the one side of his face. You see that that there is a few sort of scar rips in that same side wing, and a scar on the arm in the front. And you see that he's kind of a long shape. Where he's, you know how typically in D&D blue dragons are like depicted with like the sort of rhino horn sort of style.
Yes.
He doesn't really have that per se. He's more of like what you would think of when you think of an oriental style dragon.
Yeah, like the wind serpent kind of.
Yeah, except he does
The
have
river
wings.
serpent?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he does have
The river
wings.
serpent with wings?
Yeah.
No wings?
With wings.
With wings. Okay. So, river or wind serpent with wings. Okay. So, more snake-like with legs and wings.
Yeah.
Got it.
He's got some sort of like spike bits coming off of the side of his face, but there's, the prominent horns on the top of his head. One of them is cracked in half and doesn't have the other half to it anymore. So he's definitely seen a lot, according to the scars that are present on his body. And it seems to be on just the one side, though.
Roby's just going to look up at him and start chuckling. As fun as it would have been, I am really glad we didn't actually get into the fight the first time we met.
You would have surely lost.
It would have been a hell of a fight, though.
And
For
you notice
you,
that his
maybe.
voice is a bit more billowing, and
Yeah.
when he speaks, the sort of ozone of lightning sort of comes from his breath when you speak to him, and it just kind of almost like little static sparks as well.
If Roby had hair still, it would be standing up.
Well, your body hair certainly is.
So do we climb on, or are you carrying us?
You can climb on.
And Kroby will go about, like, boosting people up.
Are you going to be staying in this form for the entire trek?
We'll fly directly there. You said that we go underground, then I will have to shift into a smaller form.
That was my question. Thank you for answering.
Yes, I will shift back to my normal form.
Never thought I'd get to ride on the back of a dragon. Oh god. And she's climbing up, and I'm assuming Zephyr's just kind of flying up and settling in behind her.
Mm-hmm.
Arya may or may not be silently crying a little bit. She's not sure why.
But Vanya will pull her up to sit in front of her and just kind of hold on to her.
She just rubs her eyes. I'm sorry, I don't know. All right, let's do this.
Lagana's going to find a comfortable spot between his wings and lay down, staring at the sky as they travel. Much like he used to lay out on the deck of the ship when he could.
Mm. And once everyone's climbed on, Alira and Kaz as well, the dragon starts to beat his wings. And they flap and flap and flap and flap faster and faster, and he lifts off into the air, almost as if he is jumping from a pounce into the air as his wings carry him upward. And the wind, as he continues to fly, gets colder and colder. And some of it does get a little harder to breathe. And you sort of bundle up with one another as he flies in the direction that you've told him where the entrance cave to the Drow City would be found. And he then lands. And you all are able to get off. And then once you all have climbed off of him, he reverts back to his dragonborn form. Well, there you have it.
Arya basically topples off of him once it's all done. A little bit anxious to get off and away from the situation, and once he shifts back, she just does a short bow. Thank you. Thank you. The ride is appreciated, General Rodriguez.
Definitely made better time than we would have on foot. Thank you.
I am eager to get this over with as quickly as possible. My country needs me.
Understandable.
Mm-hmm.
Shall we head in?
Let's go.
I guess we're taking march.
Yep.
Arya
I'll be up front
is
with the flame sword out to light the way.
good, great. Maybe
We
have
are
one of our
looking at
scouts.
at least 2 weeks. A week there, a week back, barring no side things of no sky or sunlight.
Oh god, there's always side things. Who are we kidding?
And as we start to head in, Lagan's drift globe floats out and illuminates the area as well.
Yep. So you start the trek into the caves of this mountain. These tunnels of the Obsidian Peak and the surrounding mountains. It does take some time, and it does have its own dangers and its own landscapes that you must traverse through. And it's cool. It's not cold down here. The cold of the air doesn't penetrate very deep into the tunnels. But it's the cool of the earth that surrounds you now. And as you go deeper and deeper over the days that you're trekking down this way, you have come prepared with the food and water provisions that you would need. Arya, the general seems to every time the party sits down to camp for the evening question mark
Mm-hmm.
for the day after the day's travel, he seems to find himself someplace to sleep kind of outside the party. And it's just something you've noticed.
Okay.
Now, whether you want to do anything about that.
Oh, gosh. Well, I'm not necessarily going to do anything per se about it, but I think what I will do is, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out one of our blankets, whatever sort of utilities we have in that regard, and just bring it to him. And while he's doing his own thing, I'm going to drape the blanket just over his shoulders.
He kind of looks at you curiously for a moment.
It isn't cold, but it's good to protect against the dampness.
Indeed. Thank you. I'm the outsider here. I do not expect you all to accommodate for me.
Even if you are an outsider, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be outside of us. All things considered,
I can see the fear.
she just...
I'm not blind
Arya
to
just...
it.
Arya kind of slumps a bit. She lets out a long sigh and sits down beside him.
The kind of magnificence that one is when they are a dragon instills fear in everyone. I see that even in my in my own people. And you have every reason to fear me.
Even so, both of us are a part of a new world, aren't we? What we were before doesn't really seem to matter so much now.
No. Not at all. I've grown so used to being the general. I've been the general many more years than I've been anything else. Perhaps that's my new self. It felt odd to shift. but at the same time, liberating. To break free of any chains that I have bound on myself as punishment. Punishment for our arrogance. What about you?
I think when we first met, I was still mostly the songbird you knew.
You certainly have a slightly different appearance than when we first met. It was 5 or 6 years ago. For the first time.
But even then, there was a part of me that I think I rejected for the same reason you did. Penance. I thought I could deny it. A whole piece of me that defines my existence, my experiences, and how I became as I was now. But the moment I accepted that, I think I know better now, more than ever. The penance does not demand we cage ourselves, but that we learn to change and adapt to both aspects. Yes, I'm afraid, Madras. But I also choose not to run away from it. Or you. Or what our great age once made. We should have to face it together, don't you think? She holds out her hand to him.
He sighs for a moment and takes your hand and squeezes it a little more gently this time around. I can see why he liked you.
I think, genuinely, for the first time, Arya smiles earnestly at Rodris. Not out of fear or any sort of niceties that comes with the politics. Just a genuine, small smile. And she's going to stand up and lead him back to the fire with everyone else. A part of the group. Made of outsiders.
Which I think is also a good place for us to wrap up the story for tonight.
Hey.
With a few more days' journey down the tunnels that lead into the Underdark. But a bridge between the humanoids of this party and the dragon in their midst beginning to maybe forge something of a friendship. Next time, we will be hopefully having our good friend Derek, who will maybe lead the diplomatic mission in the city of the Drow, and we will find out what happens after that. So, thank you all so much for playing.
Yay! Thank you.
I'm
Yay,
sorry
thank
we didn't
you.
get around to that combat that y'all wanted at the start of the session. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
I promise
That's
there
all right.
is one
Perfectly
coming
fine.
soon. Next session, probably. So, I'm sorry.
Battles are fun, but they are not everything.
No, but I know that's kind of what some were wanting. You know, at the start of things.
It's me.
Yeah,
It's me. I'm always the one asking for combat, literally every
Yep.
session.
I promise. I
You are.
promise
I am
it's coming.
I am always ready to throw down, should that be what is required, but that is not necessarily always my go-to.
I mean, nothing was stopping you from attacking your dragon friend. Let's just be real. Let's just be perfectly honest here.
I can't pass up a dragon ally, honest to God. Gave the opportunity there. I was like, oh, I could be friends with him.
Yeah.
Well, to be perfectly honest, given the history of this world, he is a dragon. I am a giant kin. We should hate each other. He's an actual fucking dragon.
Yep. And the way that Lagan
Yep.
sees it is that's my ancestors' problem, not mine.
Mm.
Yes, they started this shit. They can figure this shit out between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
I have nothing to do with that. He's offering friendship. Maybe he'll show me his horde one day.
Well, if you've been paying attention, he's a general for a reason.
I have been paying attention.
Mhm.
And I also know it would be more than just an indelicate inquisition should I actually verbalize such a statement, and might very well be the last thing Lagan ever does, or
To be
even
fair.
suggests.
To be quite fair, a hoard doesn't necessarily mean treasure. It could be something else he treasures.
A horde for any dragon is whatever they treasure.
Yep.
So in that sense,
Not
it
always
is
gold.
no. I would love to play a steel dragon because their treasures, yes, they have the monetary gold and jewels and all of that, but their true treasures are the memories of the lives that they lived.
Mm.
Because they lived their entire lives as other people, never living as dragons. They only return to dragon when it's time for them to move on, become someone else, and return their memories to their place of safekeeping.
To their vault or whatever it is. Yep.
Yeah.
In a sense, maybe General Roderick is doing the same. Because he's been living his life as the general for the Grioran Empire for as long as at least the Emperor's been in seat, so...
The Gon, like I said, is of the mind that he's offering friendship.
Mhm.
I'm going to take this. Draydith, on the other hand, can go suck a dick. He's not offering me anything. He's only fucking threatened me since
Only
he
threatened animosity and everything at the very first turn, yeah.
So,
It is as it is the statement of probably the session. Let's just put behind, let's stop running away from the past and adapt to the future and what it means with acknowledging those dark aspects as well.
Rebirth,
Yeah.
the name of the story. All right.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, we've got an audience poll up for those of you in the audience to select who your favorite of today's game was. Let's go over the notes I have about how this game is played when it comes to experience. So, for you all, get experience based on, because I'm the DM, I get to pick how many experience you get, as well as how experience works in this game. So, you all get your 5 experience for attending. Thank you for coming and sitting in your seats.
Yeah.
I think you made some really good progress on befriending, not just complying with General Roderus, so I think that deserves a good 7 extra experience.
Oh, geez. Wow.
Yeah. Because you could have just kept him at arm's length, but you didn't.
Yeah.
Even in revealing his dragon form,
Yeah, every night when Kurobe fixed dinner, he would definitely be bringing him a plate no matter what. So.
Oh yeah.
Even if he wants to sit over there by himself.
I think out of respect for Arya, he was giving himself a wide berth on her, because he knows how scared she is of him.
Yeah.
Y'all to a lesser experience.
Oh yeah.
But definitely to her.
Arya gets audience XP.
Hey, Arya, you're the favorite.
Yay! Thank you.
Lagan doesn't consider himself any part of that at all. Again, it's much like the other ancient history that's, well, at least for those two, not as ancient, given their memories. It's not mine. I have no part in this. I didn't do this. I'm not taking responsibility.
Vanya's not necessarily afraid of the fact that he's a dragon. She's, as has been proven many times, fascinated more by dragons than anything.
Yeah.
It's more his current position in her own country. And the fact that he is her brother's direct superior.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't think Kurobe's actually scared. He doesn't know if he could. He doesn't think he could win that fight. But if it came down to it and he went after Arya, he would definitely step up.
Then I haven't been playing my dragons to be scary.
Although that's a core tenet of Kurobe is it's like one of his, like, when you know how you pick your traits that kind of define your personality.
Yeah.
One of them is so he can stare down to Hellhound and not flinch.
Yeah.
It's like that's a core thing of, like, bring it.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, he in spite of fear. Yep.
For Lagan, it's not out of fear. It's actually from his time living in the mountains and hell on the sea. It's a healthy respect of the things that can and will kill you on a whim.
Healthy bit of respect for that. Well, let's talk about who out of you players get to decide who pushed our plot, who had the best scene, and who had our best line from tonight. So, who pushed plot today? Who
Arya.
did you like pushing plot? Yeah.
Arya.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's Arya.
Oh. I'm outvoted ish already. So okay, I'll take it. Sure.
Were you gonna honorable mention somebody?
I was gonna mention Lagan because he was thinking an awful lot about the logistics of everything.
But Arya, you win the majority, so.
I'm going for Arya because this was a bit more of a personal plot.
That's fair.
Interest. Lagan is always thinking about the logistics of trying to get all this shit together. Being the only one that until recently was a part of a crew for a ship like this, logistics was everything. How do we get what we need to get where we're going and return?
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, Arya, you got the plot pusher, so you get 1 XP for that. Who had our best scene?
I'm gonna say Arya again. or that
Oh, damn
in
it.
scene with Rodrus.
I loved the scene with Rodrus, but my scene for Arya is entirely different.
Mm.
It's a combination of the scene of her finding the body of Stewart and then bringing him up and dumping him on the deck of the ship and saying, "Hey, look what I found. What can we do with this?"
We got a Hero Zone raid. Thanks for raiding us, Maddie. We're just wrapping up, actually.
Hello.
Fat guy,
Hello.
you got something?
I think I'll go with Arya just because the whole thing with the robot, you were way too amused.
I had to entertain myself, and I was like, "Oh, we can make NPCs? Oh, fuck yeah! I got something for you."
I may have.
And you
I may have
you
pulled
caught
the trigger on
Coffee.
something
You were,
like that.
yeah, you were right on top of that, Coffee. You were just like, "Oh, a scribe robot. You named Stewart because he's a steward. Okay, fuddy duddy, we got this." And I'm like, "Yes, that's what I want."
We have a glorified tape recorder in my backpack.
Yes, and I love him. He's my favorite.
I thought it was
Must
stuck
protect
in the
him.
bag of holding.
Either
No,
one.
I tied him.
Out.
No, I
One
tied
goes
him to my
down the other, it
backpack.
doesn't matter.
All right, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Just because I feel like
Y'all take turns.
I had two favorite scenes tonight, and it was one, talking with Lagan, and two,
Yes.
Definitely the moment with Rodrus.
I'm glad you. I'm glad you bit on that prompt because I was thinking you might not. So.
She was hesitant, as was I.
I stayed out of it because you specifically mentioned it for Arya, even though I probably have the at least passive to have noticed this. You made a point to give this to Arya.
Yeah.
I specifically made a point to stay out of it.
Yep. Good. Thank you. Thank you for
Thank you.
for noticing that and letting her have that. Who had the best line from tonight? Because it definitely sounds like Arya had best scene.
Fucking Lagan. Well, okay. Well, so what about Rodrus? He walks in. Speak of the. Well, anyways. To the fucking dragon at war with devils. That shit was cracking
I
me up.
would have contention if my line was said in character, but
Oh god.
Just for shits and giggles, I'll throw my hat in there with the it's rune without it being rune.
And
It's
I'm going to throw
subtle.
Lagan in there for, okay, so it's rune without a soul.
That's
I'll
sweet.
give it to the Lagan line for
Yeah.
Rodrus.
Yeah, the one at Rodrus.
Yeah.
Well, speak of the. Anyway.
Hello,
God
pleasure
damn
to
it.
see you.
And Rodrus just turns around to you. Meant to say a turn of phrase, didn't you?
Oh, God, it was so funny.
No, it was literally, well, speak of, he's not actually a devil, so.
I understand that, but it was almost like calling someone a slur, but then you realize they're in the room and you're like,
Yeah.
anyways.
I'm sure that's where Rodrus's mind went. I'm quite sure that's where his mind went. But that was not my intent.
And
it
that's
literally
fine.
was.
You could have very well have started that conversation offending your dragon friend. So
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
But that's why when he said, I'm sure that was meant as a turn of phrase, and I'm like, well, when you speak of devils and demons, turn names and such, they appear. That's why he completed that thought after potentially offending Rodrus.
I should have said my line in character and meant it. My
I
lady,
should have.
how do you spell ooh ooh ooh? Right there, that's the spot.
And if you had said that in character, I would have had to give it to you because I literally had to turn everything off so that I didn't laugh over the top of y'all. Couldn't stop laughing.
Very funny honorable
Oh my
mention for
God.
sure. But I think that gives it to Lagan for the best
Yep.
line for tonight. Well, speak of the devil, and him not being a devil.
And
Yeah.
being the general that's trying to fight a devil invasion.
Well, whatever. Never mind. Oh, pleasure to see you.
We love to see it. We love to see it. Well, with that being said, that concludes our session for tonight. So thank you guys so much for playing. Hopefully, we will have Derek and Lethality back next week so that we can do some more of this fun stuff with diplomats and stuff, and maybe just maybe go fighting some things that might be harrowing the Drow as of right now. Who knows? So let's find somebody to raid. I know that Maddie and them just raided us, so let's find someone who is going to be someone we raid. But with that being said, also don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube because we do post episodes on YouTube for all of our shows. We have Cyberpunk on Wednesdays and we have D&D on Saturdays, so that y'all can go look at all of the past episodes. I usually post them about a week after they've aired on Twitch, mostly because to give me time to edit them because I am very slow at these things. Yeah, so hopefully y'all swing over there. We're, I think, just shy of 150 subscribers on YouTube at the moment, so go and give that some love. Don't forget to also follow, and if you are feeling inclined, to subscribe here on Twitch because it really does go right back into the channel. And, making sure that, when I'm feeling a little bored of the music choices that I've had in my games, I can go and buy some more royalty-free stuff. So it supports the channel. But thank you guys so much for watching, so much for playing, and until Wednesday when we play Cyberpunk again, say good night.
Good night.
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 Good night.